In this program, I want to deal with the illusions connected with love. To talk of prayer is to talk of love. For God is love. Love is divine. But what generally goes under the name of love has nothing to do with love at all. Nothing. So let me begin by telling you what love is not, and then indicating, however vaguely, what love is. Love is not attraction. I love you more than I love anyone else. Translate, I'm more attracted to you than to others. How does that sound? You draw me more than others. You fit the programming in my head better than other people do. Not very flattering to you, because if my programming had been different, remember how people say, what does he find in her? What does he see in her? They say love is blind. Attraction is blind, not love. There is nothing so clear-sighted as love. This whole process of I'm attracted to you, you know where the love comes from? It comes from you, not from me. It doesn't spring from me. You draw me. The day you cease to be attractive, what happens? Well, I'll hold on to you out of guilt, out of loyalty, out of an ideal. But love in your sense of the word has died. If for you, love means attraction. It's gone. I was told of an old couple, grandpa and grandma. They were celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. They were tired after all the celebrations, sitting in the veranda. And grandpa felt moved, see, and he said, Grandma, I'm proud of you. What was that, Grandpa? She says, you better speak louder. You know I cannot hear you without my hearing aid. He said, I'm proud of you. She says, that's all right. I'm tired of you too. You know, that's where attraction always ends up. You're attracted. If you give in to that attraction, gratification follows. And after the gratification, wearisomeness. Or, if it persists, anxiety. I hope I can keep this. I hope somebody else doesn't get it. Possessiveness, jealousy, fear of loss. That isn't love. Another thing that love is not, it is not dependency. Now, you know, it's very good to depend on people. We depend on one another, or else we wouldn't have society. Interdependence, wonderful. We depend on the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. We depend on the pilot, on the cab driver, on all sorts of people. But to depend on another for your happiness, that is the evil. That someone would have the power to decide whether you would be happy or not. If you have that, if you ever give to somebody this power, you will be fearful. You will manipulate. You cannot leave that person free, because don't forget, your happiness depends on this person. You're a burden. Sometimes you get two empty people depending on one another. Two incomplete people depending, leaning on one another. Two dominoes. One moves, the other falls. Is that love? Love is not the assuaging of our loneliness. People feel empty inside, and they rush to fill the emptiness with someone. That isn't love. Incidentally, that emptiness, that loneliness that so many people are running away from, They run into all kinds of activity, even social activity. They run into work. They run to other people's arms to assuage that emptiness, that loneliness. The only cure for that loneliness, I said to you in the previous program, is not contact with human beings, but contact with reality. What does that mean? If you would face the loneliness, you might discover that it isn't there. There is no emptiness. If you would face the illusion that you were programmed into by your society, that you need others, you'd realize it isn't there. You're watching a movie, enjoying yourself immensely. Suddenly, at that moment, you don't need anybody. This is an illusion that has been created in our heads. And here's something else you may want to remember for the future. Both what you're running away from and what you're searching for is inside of you. It's all there. If you would face what's going on inside of you, what you're running away from would disappear. And what you're searching for would emerge. So love is not the assuaging, the soothing of our loneliness. Mostly when people talk about love, you know what they're talking about? They're talking about a thing of the market. It's a bargain. You be good to me, I'll be good to you. You be nice to me, I'll be nice to you. You're not nice to me, funny. Those nice feelings I had towards you turn sour. Is that love? You could bargain with money. You could strike a deal with money. You could strike a deal with all kinds of things. You're striking a deal with your emotions, and that's supposed to be love. Here's another surprise. Love is not desire. I desire you with all my heart. You know, inasmuch as I love you, I do not desire you. I enjoy you thoroughly. But I'm too full to need you. It's like when you come, you're so enjoyable. And when you leave, I'm not at all miserable. I'll enjoy the next thing, and the next, and the next person, and the next. I'm full. And if you are full too, how marvelous that is. Centuries ago, Buddha had these marvelous words to say. The world is full of sorrow. The origin of sorrow, the root of sorrow, is desire. The uprooting of sorrow is desirelessness. Let's translate that better, because by desire, he meant a desire on whose fulfillment my happiness depends. And our societies and cultures are the whole time encouraging us to add to these desires. So we're more and more programmed to unhappiness and to non-love. The world is full of sorrow. The root of sorrow is craving. The uprooting of sorrow is cravinglessness. I desire all kinds of things, but I don't desperately need anything. If that desire is not fulfilled, I'll be quite happy. I explained this in the previous program. Sometimes people say, if you had no desire, would you ever achieve something? If you had no ambition, like that guy who stands up on a platform and he says, I was born an Englishman, I will live an Englishman, and I shall die an Englishman. And an Irishman in the crowd shouts, man, have you got no ambition? Sorrow. The root of sorrow is craving. Marriages that are built on craving are so fragile, so ready to fall apart. I have expectations of you. You better live up to them, or else. You have expectations of me. I'd better live up to them, or else. Quarrels. See, you need me, I need you. I need to find my happiness in you. You need to find your happiness in me. That's where the struggle begins. That's where the possessiveness begins. And you know something? Wherever there is desire, in this sense of the word, there's a threat. And where there's a threat, there's fear. And where there is fear, there is no love, because we always hate what we fear. And perfect love casts out fear. Wherever there's desire of the type that I described, it always goes attended by fear. So love is not desire. Love is not attachment. Falling in love is the exact opposite of love. And it's canonized everywhere. It's a disease. Everybody's trying to give it to you. You find it in your movies, in your love songs. These are need songs. I saw a movie the other day. This girl says to this boy who's dying, "Don't die. I love you. I cannot live without you." I cannot live without you. Love. That's hunger. So, you know something? When I fall in love with you, I cease to see you. I don't see you anymore. Whenever there's a powerful emotion, whether it's positive or negative, I cannot see you. The emotion comes in the way. I'm projecting my own needs onto you. Falling in love is blind. Attachment. We're already moving into what love is. I told you what love is not. You know something? I cannot tell you what love is. It cannot be said. I cannot tell you what happiness is. It cannot be said. When you drop your fears and your attachments and your illusions, you will know. I could give you comparisons. Listen to this. To love means at least clarity of perception, accuracy of response. I see you clearly as you are. That's the least I could demand in love. How could I love you if I don't see you? Now get ready for a surprise. Generally, when I see you or you see me, we don't see one another. We're seeing an image. A husband, does he relate to his wife or to his image of his wife? Is the wife relating to her husband or to her image of her husband? How is this image formed? Watch this. If you think you've been shocked till now, get ready for this one. I have an experience of you. That experience is stored in my memory. I make a judgment on the basis of that experience. I'm carrying this along with me. And I'm acting or reacting to you on the basis of this. Not on the basis of what you are right now. There's a picture on my window as I look through it at you. I'm looking through that picture. No clarity of perception. There's a lovely sentence in the New Testament where Paul, speaking of love, says, "Love keeps no record of wrongs." And I say to people, sometimes you're going to be very sorry when you get up there and you find they don't have any books. Love keeps no records of rights either. No rights, no wrongs. No good, no bad. I see you in present moment freshness, and I react to what's here. Shall I react to a memory or to you? A memory, good or bad? That cuts both ways, you know. We had a quarrel, and you come up to me and say, sorry about that quarrel. Quarrel? I remember it, but there's no emotion attached to it. It's over. That's what the mystics are talking about when they talk about the purification of memory. They're not saying forget everything, drain it of emotion, sanitized. And you say, remember how much we were in love 2 years ago? You want me to react to that? You want me to react to you as you are now? You want to carry over this capital and get dividends from it? You know, if you come to think of it, it's terrifying. Most people are doing the opposite of this, which means they don't know what love is. Love is like listening to a symphony. Life is a symphony, and to love means to be sensitive to the whole of that symphony. It means to have a sensitive heart to everyone and to everything. Can you imagine someone who's listening to a symphony and only hears the drums? Or gives so much value to the drums that the other instruments are almost drowned out? A good musician who loves music will listen to every one of those instruments. He may have his favorite instrument. He may have his preferences, but he listens to them all. When you fall in love, when you have an infatuation, an attachment, an addiction, an obsession with a human being, you know what you're doing? That person stands out and the others are drowned out. Your heart is no longer sensitive. Love is not a relationship. Love is a state of being. Love exists before there's any human being around. Before you come around, love already exists. Namely, the sensitive heart exists always. You don't draw that heart. That heart is sensitive to you and responds accurately to you. But then to drown out the drums, that's just as bad because you're hardening your heart again. This is what love is, to listen to the whole of the symphony, to be sensitive to it all.